This is an interview with Joanne Columbo for the Youngstown Historical Center of Industry and Labor oral history project titled Women at Work. The interview is being conducted at the Steel Museum on March 31st, 2023. My name is Susan Lowry. Hi, Joanne.
Hi.
How are you today?
I'm doing great.
Fantastic. Thank you for being here with us today. Just some introduction questions before we get into our roll into our main topic. Where did you and your family live when you were growing up?
We lived in Austintown. And
Oh, okay.
yes, I graduated from Austintown Fitch.
Can I ask what year that was?
Sure, 1971.
Oh, okay. And during high school, did you have a job?
In the summer.
In the summer, what did you do?
I babysat in the evenings, but then in the summer I worked for Interstate United, which was a food service company, in the mills. Yes, I worked at the private dining room in Youngstown at Republic Steel and Warren, and that's how I got to know people that worked in the steel industry, like the supervisors and superintendents.
Well, what did your dad do when you were growing up?
My dad was actually the manager of the food service company, but he did not hire me.
Okay.
He didn't want either one of his daughters working in the steel mill. Because you'll never meet a man that's married, they're all single, is what he used to say.
That is so funny. How about your mom? What did she do?
She was a stay-at-home mom.
Okay. So you said daughters, so you had sisters?
I had a sister who worked in food service. She was the manager at the private dining room and moved on to several different locations, and she made a career in the food service industry.
And any brothers?
Brother, Joe, he worked.
He worked in the steel mills too?
Oh, yes, he did. He started at the Coke plant in Youngstown, and then he ended up in Warren. I'm not sure, how many different areas he worked in, but.
Okay. Now, this food industry within the steel mills,
yes.
Were they catering to the employees? Were they catering to the administration and the supervisors?
Well, there were several different. They had an employee canteen, what they called. They had vending machines in some areas, and then they had the private dining rooms for the superintendents and the upper management.
Oh, and that was on site, or was that a different location?
No, it was on site. In Youngstown, it was the 8th floor dining room.
8th floor dining room.
Right.
Okay.
And in Warren, it was downstairs, in the main office.
After you graduated from high school, did you go to college? Did you work right away?
No, I ended up in a full-time position at Interstate, so I worked in the dining room.
Okay.
And
how many years did you work there?
About a year and a half.
What happened after that?
Well, I was approached by one of the superintendents at Republic Steel because there was an opening. For a statistical typist in Warren.
Oh, okay.
Which was a higher paying job, and I got to wear my own clothes instead of a uniform. So I ended up starting, in Warren as a statistical typist.
Where did you get the training for typing? At high school?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I took,
So you didn't have to go to any kind of higher education? Nothing? Did you have to get certified for anything?
No, I mean, you took a typing test, but that was it. And then you as you went along, you'd ask questions. Why, what is this for? What does this mean? And people would take the time to explain it to you, and it was kind of...
So on-job training.
Right, and it was kind of monotonous, that particular job.
Yeah. How many years did you do that?
The years. I wish I could remember. Only a couple, because then I moved on to a different position, which was in the metallurgical department.
Okay.
And it was doing the setup for the mill. Like an order would come in, and you would sit down with the metallurgist, and we had different standard practices that you would follow to, enter the information. We used to handwrite it, and then the cards would be printed overnight, and the next day you would check for rolling and coiling temperatures, chemistries, and things like that.
Again, on-the-job training.
On-the-job training, and I did take a few classes in elements of metallurgy
Mm-hmm.
to
Okay.
help my understanding. And I was fortunate to be trained by one of the best in the position.
Yeah.
She worked for the company for 40-some years.
A
And
metallurgist that was
she
also a
was-
woman.
Well, yes, but she was in charge of our department in this coding office.
Okay.
And she took the time to, help me, and if she didn't know the answer, she'd find somebody that had the answer.
Oh.
And I
okay.
credit her with
Are you allowed to?
anything that happened after that.
Are you allowed to share her name?
Virginia Allen.
Virginia Allen. Okay, fantastic. This happens a lot. I always get a little stumped because I get lost almost every time. Did you find that you know what, I think I'm going to answer this. Did you find that training to be sufficient and satisfactory, or were there moments that it was lacking?
Well, there was always something new. So not everything was cut and dry. You had to take some things, as the orders would come in, and sit down with the metallurgist or talk to an operator and see.
Okay.
You'd have help, from other people. You had to know where to go to get it.
Okay. So the communication skills, how would you rate that?
Great.
Okay.
Yeah. Great working. The people at the mill were fantastic.
Yeah.
The ones that I came in contact with.
Did you ever hear of stories, or were there ever those anomalies that wasn't a typical day? Where,
oh yeah, there's always, yeah.
Can you share one of those kind of days?
Well, for me,
Yeah.
because if it got to that point, Virginia would handle it with the operator, with the metallurgist. I really wasn't involved too much. But.
So what was it, like maybe a mishap in a chemical or something? Or
No, it would be mishap in communication, or who told you to do this, questions that came up.
Nobody was ever belittled or neglected, or not neglected, talked down to, or...
Oh, well, yeah.
I mean, I don't want to hear, let me rephrase that. I want to hear the positive feedbacks and the negatives too. I'd like to hear that all-encompassing kind of experience.
Right. Well, in this area, I can honestly say I didn't have a lot of, there wasn't a lot of that.
Yeah? Oh, that's great.
Yeah, it was,
How long did you stay in that particular job then, would you say?
Goodness. It was probably 3-4 years.
Okay. And you were pretty young, maybe in your 20s when you were doing that job? Wow.
Yeah.
What made you want to switch gears and go into a different position?
Because the other one was kind of monotonous. This was a promotion, and, I really thought at that point that I would make a career in the steel industry, and I knew this was one way of getting to the next level.
Yeah.
And after the coding clerk, they came up with a department called Integrated Process Control, which was new, and the whole corporation was involved, and then they handpicked so many people to be IPC coordinators and work with the units out in the mill to write standardized, standard process operating procedures.
Okay. SOPs.
Yes.
Okay. Mm-hmm. And so that was your next job?
That was my next job.
How did you like doing that job?
Well, a lot of statistics with the charting and everything, and I'm not a big fan.
Oh,
but
okay.
I mean, it was new and it was exciting. Mm-hmm. And then I was in that job for a while, and LTV decided to consolidate their flat roll order processing.
Okay.
So they had 4 producing mills and 10 sales offices, and they were looking for someone to go to Cleveland and to work with the operating department and, the order entry department and the metallurgical department.
Okay.
So I went up there in a position as a supervisor.
Oh, okay.
And I was on a dotted line to the order entry, I reported to them, and then I was on a dotted line to technical services.
Okay.
So we worked with 10 sales offices.
Mm-hmm. Ooh.
And I would have to say that was worse than dealing with the people at the mill, because it was right after the merger. People were bitter.
That's what I wanted to touch on a little bit too. When did that happen?
I'm a woman, and let's see, that was 86, 87. My husband would know the year, but you people from Republic. And
so LTV was already existing up in Cleveland.
Well,
is that how?
No, what happened? There was a merger in '85, I believe it was, with J&L and Republic Steel.
Okay.
And they basically were operating on, the J&L system in Cleveland on one part of the mill. The west side was J&L, and the east side was Republic.
Okay.
Okay. So I worked up there on a temporary assignment for 6 weeks to help. Well, the woman who held a similar position to mine went and worked on consolidating.
Wow.
The operations.
Okay.
So there were a lot of new things. Some areas people didn't take, for example, up in Cleveland, the gentlemen that worked in this department, two of them were ready to retire. So, here I am, I'm from Warren. We made a totally different product mix, and I'm up there and they're supposed to listen to me. So that didn't go over well at first.
Yeah.
And the other difference, in Cleveland, these people were salaried. I'm sorry, they were hourly, and in Warren, it was salaried position.
Okay.
So you could just, talk to somebody and tell them to change something. Where there, wasn't as easy.
Yeah. The gentleman that maybe didn't make things as easy for you because, they're retired, so... Yeah. They're men, they know what they're doing, they've been doing it for years. And then who is this young lady coming in here? So that was, and you did that for 6 weeks.
Only 6 weeks. Yeah.
It was a challenge, it was an experience. How did you overcome that challenge with the men? What was your strategy? What was even if it was just a small little thing, what did you do?
Well, actually 3 out of 4 were okay, but the one guy, and he, from what I understand, would give everybody a problem. So
I've heard that kind of thing before.
Right.
That it would always be just the one, and it was he would torture everybody.
And he gave me a bad time, so I just looked at him one day and I said, "How long have you worked here, not counting tomorrow?" And I thought, you're shaking, while you're doing it, but whatever it takes.
Yeah. But you got through it, and it was a good experience because you knew.
It was a good experience. The reason I didn't like it is because I knew exactly what I was doing in Warren, and if I didn't, I would know where to go to get the answer. Where in Cleveland, because of the product mix, and they had a caster, we didn't. I felt like I was guessing at 80% of what I was doing. Even though people would say you're doing a good job, it wasn't.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was. I didn't know what I was doing. I was guessing at a lot of things.
So, but you did have some people that were telling you you're doing a good job and everything.
For one, he's downstairs. I ended up marrying him. I didn't like him when I was working in Cleveland.
Wait a minute. You didn't like him?
No,
my goodness.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. That's fun.
Yeah.
That's fun. When did you guys get married then?
Oh, well, I went back to Warren, and then when I was working in the IPC department, I had opportunities to go to these seminars in Cleveland.
Okay.
And I would always get together with the people from the mill, and he was one of them.
Okay.
And although we were friends, I never really started dating him until I worked in the general office for LTV. He was on, they were just starting to work with Japanese transplant auto companies. And he was the rep at the Cleveland mill.
Okay.
I was the one for the general office for the order entry.
Okay.
And, and then we had a gentleman who headed the department in the same building on the 17th floor.
Okay.
And he's the one that really thought that, my husband, not my my husband, he thought, well, you two should meet and go out. So he wanted to have a party for the people that did the work. It turned out the party was 4 people. It was, so the woman that I worked with in Cleveland, and Dawn, and then my Gene.
Oh my goodness. Oh, how cute. And so that's kind of like how
we started dating then, and then
oh my goodness.
He teased me because when we first started going out, I lived like 5 miles away. Then I moved downtown to Cleveland so that I could be closer to the office, and then I transferred back to Warren. So I kept getting further away.
Oh my goodness. How many years have you guys been married now?
33.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
That's fantastic. After the 6 weeks, you came back to Warren?
Yes.
And you continued that ICP job?
IPC, yeah.
IPC, I'm sorry. And can you describe in Warren your maybe a detail-oriented job description there? And then with that, what type of condition was that job with?
Well,
Go ahead.
it was new, so I mean,
Okay.
it was a new experience for everyone.
Okay.
Yeah, because it was a new department. They held several different, training programs.
Okay.
Because the whole corporation was going this way, where they were going to rate these as, standards. In fact, I thought I had a couple of them left, but unfortunately, I don't. So that, it depended on which departments you ended up with. I worked with the people in, let's see, the coded products in Warren.
Okay.
So you had the opportunity to meet with hourly people and salaried people to come up with these things. And a lot of the job was proofreading before it went to the printer.
Okay, so yeah, that was what I was starting to wonder. Did you have to sit down and start writing things, or you had a clipboard and you were writing things?
They wrote it.
Okay.
Because it was their, they were the ones doing the job.
Okay.
My job before it went to print was to proofread it, and then I would actually, because the printer at the time was in Austintown, I would drop it off on my way home.
Okay. And now with proofreading, you're not just looking at grammar.
No.
Or sentence structure. You're looking at also, is this the correct way to do this? Or like, what else? What else?
Well, see,
because I'm limited on that knowledge.
Well, see, the thing is, I had to trust them because they were the ones that knew how to do the job.
Oh, see, good point.
The mill operators were the ones. So I proofread what they put down because they were considered experts in that area.
I see. All right, very good. And how about when you were going around and doing all this, how was the job conditions then, as being a woman? Were you respected? Did you have moments? Did you have good people that encouraged you, took you under their wing, or the difficult ones? And
there were always a couple difficult ones, but I'll tell you that they were few and far between.
That's fantastic.
Yeah. And I found that the actual people that worked in the mill, because we have white hats, they were, to me, they were nice. I mean, I didn't have a problem, and they were inquisitive. They see you walking around doing things, and this was all new. It wasn't that we were trying to put them out of a job. We were just working on making it better.
Yeah. Did you find that a lot of these individuals that were always easy to work with, per se, they knew they had a job to do.
Right. And they did it. And they were good at what they did.
And that's why it's like, keep everything peaceful because everybody's in the same boat, so to speak.
I think the majority of them did feel that way. And a lot of them back then a lot of them spoke broken English, and they were, older and nicer gentlemen. I mean,
I see. Oh, so there was a lot of ethnicity that even in the 70s and 80s.
Oh, yeah.
Wow. For me, I would think that was definitely in the early and mid-century.
Yeah, there were some in the 70s.
Yeah. So did you ever experience any strikes then?
Two wildcat strikes.
What does wildcat mean?
I mean, it was a Warren. It wasn't as steel workers in general. This was at the Warren plant where they walked out.
Just that. Okay.
And being salaried and working in the the office.
So you're not union.
No,
you worked in the office.
I crossed the picket line because.
Did they say anything to you?
Oh, they
picketers?
yelled, but they weren't. It wasn't bad.
It wasn't bad. And I mean, they understood that you were salary, right? Or did that not matter? Oh, I see.
Yeah, they where I parked. parked in the parking lot, there weren't as many picketers. You know,
Okay.
it's like the gates going into the specific units.
Okay, I see. So you just went in, you kept your head down though when you
Right.
walked through and you did your job.
Yep.
When you left, did you have picketers, new ones picketing and saying
I
stuff?
don't remember that. I remember
Yeah.
more so walking in.
Yeah.
I think that's, and then the other thing is, you know, they had to come and pick up their paychecks. And it was right in that same building, right in front.
Oh my goodness. How about, I'm sorry, so you had 2 of those. How long did those last?
Not very long. It was
No.
a matter, I can't remember. It wasn't.
Maybe within a week or even
than
less?
that, even a couple days probably.
All right, good. So it didn't affect like the company overall. There was no major shutdowns there.
No.
I see. How about like any types of work violence or work injuries? I know those are 2 separate things, but I mean, was there any kind of issues like that? Let's focus on work violence because did you ever see or hear of individuals that would get into it, or maybe you were even involved in?
No.
Okay.
I mean, there were injuries out in the mill because it was a dangerous job. But then,
Yeah.
you know, everybody would hear about that. They were very, you know, they would
Okay.
let you know that we had an injury, and they would actually count down how many days without a serious
Okay.
injury or whatever. But
Okay, and what kind of injuries would it at that time?
I don't know.
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
Just curious. Thought I'd ask.
Yeah.
But otherwise, but violence then not so much.
Yeah.
Never really had any issues there. That's good.
Yeah.
And let's see here. The IPC, is that where you continued to stay until you retired, or did
No,
you
I
do
went-
another job?
I went to. Okay, wait a minute. Now I'm confused. Okay.
We were doing the IPC where you went back to Warren, and I had asked a detailed kind of job.
I'm sorry. I went back to Warren, and when it was Warren Consolidated Industries, my title was Specifications Metallurgist, which I never agreed with the title because I felt I didn't have the college degree. But they looked at it as your years of experience
Yeah.
in this field.
Those strikes that you went through, by the way, what years were those? Was there one in the mid 90s?
Oh,
Was
there
that-
was. I did not work that one. They actually called me to come back during
Yeah.
that one. But
Okay. There's
This
a
was
reason
the
why I'm
80s.
specifically
Okay.
asked about that, and I'll tell you more about that, but that's after the recording. Okay, but the WCI?
when I went back from Cleveland
Okay.
to WCI,
Okay.
because this was now their own company.
Yes.
And I worked for technical services, which was right next to the sales department, and worked with the specifications
Okay.
and in the mill operators
Okay.
as far as production limitations.
Okay. And so now you're with a new company.
Yeah, new company, same location, just changed names.
Yeah.
And actually, my boss, I worked with him for years.
Okay, so no problems there either then, because if you're going back to work with somebody that you've worked for years, if you didn't like them, you would not have done that. So all these moves, you were it was a pay grade higher, and it was always a promotion, and it was always with somebody that you were always comfortable with.
Well, not always, but because when I went up to Cleveland, I really didn't know some of the people that well, but for the most part.
For the most part, yeah. That's fantastic. What? Speaking of pay, were you paid equally as the other men?
Well, that's very interesting.
Oh, yeah.
I went to Cleveland to the corporate office.
Yeah.
And they said they were looking for someone with experience, and then they offered the job to me. Well, it's a new department. It's a new you don't know what you should be paid, but we were putting in a lot of long hours because we had to be ready for a certain startup date. when I decided to go back to Warren, it turned out the man that replaced me had less experience, was getting paid more money, and they found his wife a job. So, this is just, it wasn't fair back then.
Yeah. How did that make you feel?
Oh, well, I was obviously upset about it, but I thought, well, I'm out of there. It's your loss.
Because, okay. That makes it. How about with the job at WCI?
Oh, they took care of me there. And
that's
not only
good.
that, but they also had a profit sharing. And at the time,
oh, that's good.
yeah, you got bonuses, which was fantastic.
Oh, that's good. Yeah. How long did you work for WCI?
Okay, it was here we go. So, like 2.5 years, and then I decided to, stay home and we had a house built, and I wanted to work on things around there. And
so you kind of retired then?
I kind of retired, but then I went back as a Kelly girl.
As a Kelly girl? What's that mean?
Temporary,
I've never heard of that.
Yeah, I went back to Cleveland.
Okay.
In the general office, and I worked part-time.
Okay. Now, did your husband continue to work for...
Oh, yes, he did. In fact, he would drop me off downtown and then go to his office out on 77.
Because he worked for LTV. Is that where he continued to work there the whole time? He didn't move to another company? Sorry, go ahead.
No. The companies, there were so many companies, same location, different date, different company, but he was fortunate because every time they went through a merger, he was able to keep his position.
I see. How about any kind of grievances? Did you have to file or report anything?
No.
Okay, good.
I can honestly say.
What was the thing you enjoyed the most about the jobs that you worked? Go ahead.
The people.
Yeah.
The people. And Warren was always my favorite.
That was your home, away from home.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But you met interesting people along the way. Even visiting, I had occasion to visit customers and.
Okay.
And I can actually say I enjoyed that. And what I really liked was getting dressed up, going to work, and going to lunch.
Oh.
Really, it would give me an excuse to shop.
Oh, that's great. I love it. How about the least? What was the thing you disliked the most of your job?
Well, I didn't like working the rare Saturdays, and, with the new startups, we had to do that. And, the long hours.
I was going to say, how about those hours?
And the other thing is, even though Cleveland isn't that far away, when I first went up there, you're talking about, moving up there. You're putting in all these hours. I didn't know anybody. I was so homesick.
Oh, yeah.
But, and you didn't really have a lot of time to go out and make new friends.
Yeah. So was these jobs mostly in the mornings, like a 9 to 5 type of job?
It was like 8 to 5, 8 to 7, because we were putting in those long hours.
Because of the merger.
And that's one thing about salary. Doesn't matter how many hours you work.
Oh, that's right. That's right. You got paid whatever you got.
Yeah.
Oh, how did that make you feel?
Oh, well, I figured it was only a short period of time.
Okay, I see. Did you ever feel like a minority being a woman in that job?
Oh, yes, there were times that you'd get, because like I said, you're dealing with 10 sales offices and, these different producing mills, and some of these people would just call in and they had an attitude. And it might not just be with me, could be with anybody. I think some personalities are that way.
Yeah.
But there are some days you could take it and some days you say, okay,
yep.
with you. Right.
That's right. Did you and your husband have any children at all?
No, we didn't, unfortunately. We got married late in life.
Yeah. So with him working in the same kind of field as you, juggling that home life with him, was it ever a struggle? Was there ever times when it was hard, or was the balancing act? Tell me.
You know what? Like I said, I was 36 when I got married for the first time. We had a home built, so when I went back to Warren, and we were planning a wedding, building a house, and he was in Japan.
Oh,
So
how long was he there for?
well, he would have to go for a couple weeks
Okay.
because he dealt with Honda and Toyota. And, he would make these trips to Japan. So it was an adjustment, but it was,
Yeah.
it was a good adjustment.
Yeah. Oh, of course. No, that's why it's there. Yeah, please do. I'm so sorry. Yeah.
That's okay.
And then how about this? This doesn't get talked about a lot. When we do think about children and you're raising your kids and childcare, sometimes we miss the fact that there's those moments you also have to start taking care of your elderly parents, even your in-laws. Did you ever come across that situation?
Well, the reason it was hard to leave.
Yeah.
When I made the decision to turn in my resignation, it was hard because the money was great, and it was the first time in my life I had extra money.
Yeah.
But my parents were getting older, and my dad was having some health problems, so it was great to be around and be able to spend the time with him and take him wherever he had to go. And then my parents came up and would help us work in the yard.
Okay.
So we got to spend more time with them, and that's something that I'll always treasure.
Oh, that's good. Very good. And then what are you doing currently? So you're retired. Are you doing any kind of other odd jobs, or are you just still kind of nesting still even? What do you think?
Right. Most of what I'm doing now, unfortunately, are doctor visits. But traveling.
Oh, good for you.
We do enjoy traveling, and even though we don't have any children, my brother has 3 lovely daughters that we love to spoil.
Oh, yeah. You got to do that. So one of my last questions then is if there's anything that I didn't ask, maybe because it slipped through the cracks or something, but something that really sticks out to you having being a woman and these jobs experiences, and especially in a type of job where it would seem more about a man's kind of job, steel mills. Is there something that I missed that I didn't ask, and something that you're like, what, it's important to share?
Well, I think the thing that's important to share, I think things have gotten better.
Yeah.
Along the way for women, because it wasn't easy, like I say, in a lot of areas where people looked at you like, do I really have to listen to her?
Yeah.
I think progress has been made, and not only
you did
with
see
that,
it,
but also with the Me Too movement, because there were times that people would make comments or whatever, and it wasn't talked about a lot back then.
Yeah. Yeah. Did you experience?
Yeah, and what the way I tried to deal with it is make a joke of it. It's like, okay, about one gentleman asked me to dinner, and I said, bring a note from your wife. If it's okay with her, it's okay with me. Well, he called my bluff, and the next day he shows up, and I did that because you don't know how he meant it. But here, I did some extra work on my lunch hour. I did some typing for him, and it was to thank me. But
that is hilarious.
Yeah.
But anyways, that was a good comeback, though. I really like that.
You had to be prepared.
Yeah. I almost feel as though women were just a lot savvier, but that could be just something that I'm picking up during these interviews, and I don't know, but because I've talked to other ladies, and I'm like, wow, that was such quick wit right there, and I don't.
You were prepared. You thought, well, just in case this happens, or how does he really mean this, or if you were worried, and if it was a situation where it was a boss that was making comments. I was in the IPC department. I was the only woman. I worked with 6 guys, and a lot of they treated me like a little sister. They looked out for me. So if I did have a problem, I would always mention something to one of them. So,
I see.
Yeah.
That was smart too.
Heads up.
Yeah. Well, you know what? That's it. I thank you so much
Oh,
for
thank you. It's a pleasure to finally meet you.
Yes. Oh, it was great to meet you too finally. But thank you very much.